9 most affordable Rolex watches. In this video, we'll look at the 9 most affordable Rolex watches. Finding the ideal Rolex is no easy task. Even more so if you're on a budget. Even though these stunning watches are the most reasonably priced Rolex models, they are still a Rolex in every sense of the word. They have maintained their supreme quality and are filled with elegance. And you are in luck because we have a short list for you. So stay tuned, and in this video, you will discover our list of the most affordable Rolex models. Besides the models mentioned in our shortlist, do you know a fun fact behind the name Rolex? The founders of Rolex wanted a name that was short, memorable, and pronounceable in any language. Well, we think they did a great job with the name Rolex. How about you? Do you like the name Rolex? If you do, then you're at the right place here at Watch Divine. Now, let's dive into today's video where we are going to find out the 9 most affordable Rolex watches. Let's see what we have on our list. Number 1. Rolex Air King. The Rolex Air King is yet another iconic timepiece. While many Rolex fans thought Rolex would soon phase out the Air King from their collection, Rolex just released a new model, complete with a new reference number for the Air King. However, this isn't the watch we're going to be focusing on in this video, because the current Air King is a bit of an eccentric Rolex. It continues to be overpriced. The prior version of Rolex Air Kings is what I'm interested in, not the current one. With its oyster casing, the Air King is ideal for both men and women, while the reference 5500 appears to be fairly similar to other historical models, such as the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date and Rolex Datejust. There are some more distinctive alternatives. Rolex Air Kings, with Explorer dials and so-called engine-tuned bezels, as well as more recent models, are particularly noteworthy. An Explorer dial with 3, 6, and 9 numbers on the dial of the Air King, reference 14000M, is an excellent choice for the watch. Vintage Air King versions, reference 14000M, can still be found in the $3,000 to $5,000 range. Watches with the Explorer dials tend to cost more. Number 2. Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date. Another entry-level Rolex model is the Oyster Perpetual. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is the watch for you. With the most current Oyster Perpetual models, we also have witnessed market values rise much above list pricing. For the reference 114300 Oyster Perpetual, prices have also increased. The 34mm Oyster Perpetual Date, often known as the Rolex Date, is a good option for those on a tight budget. This little version of the Rolex is just as enticing as its larger siblings. There are no hard and fast rules when it comes to choosing between old and modern for the box and papers. While the newest Oyster Perpetual Date is a 41mm model that starts at $6,150, prices for the vintage Oyster Perpetual Date watches in 34mm start at around only $2,500. Between $4,000 and $6,000, you may get your hands on the reference 15200, the last 34mm Oyster Perpetual Date from the early 2000s, which is still in production. Rolex's automatic movement caliber 3135 and sapphire crystal with the Cyclops date magnifier are included. The Oyster Perpetual Date is a watch that may be worn by men and women alike, with the small 34mm size. But when it comes to ladies, Rolex has a terrific, reasonably priced watch for them. Number 3. Rolex Lady-Datejust. The Rolex Lady-Datejust is a stunning example of a Rolex watch that is both gorgeous and reasonably priced. It has a striking resemblance to its larger sibling, but is substantially smaller in diameter. Previous versions of the Lady-Datejust were 26mm and 31mm thick, respectively. As a mid-sized Datejust, the 31mm model is officially a woman's watch, although on rare occasions you can find a man wearing one. When it comes to Lady-Datejust watches, these smaller versions have all the beauty of their larger counterparts, but they have the added benefit of exotic dial styles and textures, making them ideal as a present for a special lady. When it comes to diamond-studded timepieces, there are plenty of alternatives for less than $6,000 that include the precious gems on the dial. It costs about $3,000 to buy a Lady-Datejust made in the 2000s. It's possible to pick between an oyster bracelet or Jubilee bracelets whenever it comes to dial combinations. We think the Jubilee bracelet gives just a bit more elegance, but it's entirely a matter of personal preference. Number 4. Rolex Oyster Date. Here is another Rolex on our rundown that doesn't cost a lot. The Rolex Oyster Date is an older model, and your best bet if you have less money to spend. The Rolex Oyster Date came out at the beginning of the 1950s and was made until 1989. At the time, it was Rolex's entry-level model, and it was only made of stainless steel, no gold or silver. The simplicity of the Rolex Oyster Date's design makes it a work of art. A Cyclops lens and a date window at 3 o'clock complete the dial of this watch, making it both functional and attractive. The Oyster Date is a multi-purpose timepiece that looks well both on an oyster bracelet and a fine leather strap. If you don't mind winding your watch frequently and you're looking for a classic Rolex, the Oyster Date might be the right choice for you. The Rolex Oyster Date reference 6694 is your best bet because it is the most current reference. After 30 years of manufacture, this watch was retired. The Oyster Date is one of the more economical alternatives on this list, costing between $2,500 and $6,000 on the pre-owned market. New Oyster Dates are available anywhere between $5,800 to $6,150, depending on the size and feature. Are you a real Rolex lover? Then we can expect a thumbs up, right? Number 5. Rolex Datejust. For decades, the Rolex Datejust has been the ideal entry-level watch. With Datejust, you can't go wrong. The Rolex Datejust has a classic look that goes well with just about anything. The Datejust, like other Rolex watches, is durable and easy to service, making it ideal for everyday wearing. New steel Rolex Datejust costs have skyrocketed recently, making it difficult to get one at an affordable price. Is it possible to avoid paying a large sum of money? Absolutely. First, if your wrist can handle it, go for the 36mm model. Even though it's a traditional unisex Rolex Datejust, you can get one for less than $5,000. Due to its higher price and rarity, the bigger 41mm size might be beyond your reach if you're on a tighter budget. Buying your Rolex wristwatch without the box and paperwork might also help you save money. A watch without its box and paperwork will cost you far less than one that does have it all. It's possible to save money if you know for sure that you will be wearing the Rolex for many years to come. And, of course, only if you are buying from a reputable seller. Another thing to keep in mind when on a budget is the choice between vintage or modern aesthetics. There is a lot of character in old Rolex Datejusts, or any other vintage model. When a timepiece has a backstory, it adds to its appeal. Aside from that, purchasing pre-owned and older items might save you money if you choose the right model. Starting around $4,000, you may get a classic stainless steel Rolex Datejust in 36mm. Prices for a more modern Datejust may run as high as $5,000, making it a more costly option. If you go for a brand new one at an authorized dealer, you are looking at an investment of between $7,200 and $14,800. Many people would choose a vintage Datejust for its charm, but I can see how some of you might want something a little bit newer. Number 6. The Rolex Milgauss, reference 116400. The Milgauss may be the most fascinating Rolex. With this forward thinking, the diamond-encrusted wristwatch has the resilience to magnetic fields and has emerged as the preferred luxury timepiece of scientists throughout the world. As the second hand on the 116400 is an attractive orange lightning bolt, the Rolex Milgauss has a lot of character and is still a reasonable price. Just below the 10K mark, prices start around $9,000, both on the pre-owned market and brand new. Number 7. The Yacht-Master 40. Reference 16622. The Yacht-Master is the embodiment of a magnificent yet beautifully modest stealth luxury watch. With its oyster band with fold underclasp, solid case back and sapphire glass. Prices start at around $9,000 on the secondary market or around $11,000 brand new at an authorized dealer. Number 8. The Rolex GMT-Master 2. Reference 126710 BRLO. Pepsi. With the Rolex GMT, you'll always be prepared for anything. The watch was known as the Pepsi because of its bezel's 24-hour scale. It was introduced in 1955. With a modern movement and an improved anniversary bracelet, the newest steel Cola builds on the iconic red and black color scheme, first introduced in 1983. If anything, the design has remained virtually unchanged for 60 years, adding to its allure and luring a new generation of Rolex enthusiasts. Prices start around the $11,000 mark, pre-owned, or around $10,750 new, if you don't mind getting on a waiting list. Number 9. The Rolex Explorer, reference 214270 Mark II. Before it was taken off the market in 1989, the very first Explorer, with the reference number 1016, had been made for almost 30 years. It's the original Explorer, and her styling continues to influence subsequent iterations. She's iconic. It was made for explorers and had Paraflex shock absorbers to make it more resistant to shocks. Its predecessor was used on the first climb of Mount Everest, and Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond books, owned a reference number 1016. The 214270 Mark II is the current Explorer reference, and it's been around since 2016. The price is $7,200 new, or around $9,000 on the pre-owned market. Some of you might still think that spending a few $1,000s on a watch is outrageous. But if you consider that with a Rolex, this might be the only watch you need during your lifetime, and then you can probably still pass it on to your kids and grandchildren in good condition, that might give a different perspective. Anyway, these are the top 9 most affordable Rolex watches. Which one caught your attention? Comment below with which of these 9 watches you like the most. If you liked today's video, please subscribe to Watch Divine and turn on the notification bell to receive updates on everything about Rolex. Thank you for watching.